Welcome to ProjectME, the podcast. I'm your host, Tiffany Carter, the founder of ProjectME, multimillionaire entrepreneur, former TV newscaster, money-making expert, female empowerment speaker, and self-proclaimed office supply addict. My mission is to take the mystery out of making big money. Every week on ProjectME, the podcast, I'll share success tips, strategies, and stories from other entrepreneurs, experts, and millionaires, showing you exactly how you can achieve your most exceptional life. Now let's get to it. Are you tired of grinding away to make money, feeling like you need to clone yourself to make your business a success? I know, I was once there too, working 12 to 14 hours a day, 7 days a week with no me time and totally overwhelmed. I knew there had to be an easier and more fun way to make massive money. And that's when I discovered passive income. Fast forward years later, and now I consistently make hundreds of thousands of dollars a year while I sleep and with little of my time. My Lord, is this a freeing and empowering feeling. It's my mission and passion to teach all of you to do the same. So I created the exclusive ProjectME Passive Income Posse, where I directly teach you how to incorporate passive income streams into your life and business. If you desire the same financial freedom I've created, message me on Instagram or Facebook at ProjectME with Tiffany, and I will send you the group application requirements. We're keeping this group small so everyone gets customized guidance and attention. All right, now back to today's episode. Welcome to the podcast and posse, ProjectME with Tiffany Carter. And today's episode is the 3 steps on how to stay motivated when nothing seems to be growing in your business. I know that this is going to be an episode that so many of you are going to be able to come back to and will come back to for a reminder, because we always need a reminder and validation, especially as an entrepreneur, because this shit's crazy. I mean, you have to be crazy to do it. And if you don't have consistent reminders of why you're doing it and to be patient and that you're not alone, you will easily quit or get super demotivated, and then your business will fail. Is demotivated a word, or is it unmotivated? And do we care? I personally don't. Let's move on. All right. So the top 3 tips that I want to give you, and this is something, keep in mind, I've come up with these in this process that I do over many, many years of being a disaster. Okay. I mean, think about 11 years of this shit. And when I say shit, I mean like the good, the bad, and the ugly. I mean, you know, there's so many highs, there's so many neutral points, there's lows, there's just crazy things that have happened. Even with my first business, it's been around 11 years. Because as you guys know, ProjectME with Tiffany Carter has been around now. Now we're probably at like 9.5 months. But, think about a business in 11 years. I mean, things change. You move different directions. In that 11 years, things went from being maybe a little online to full blown like digital marketing explosion. I mean, that's pretty damn different, right? It went from like meeting clients for that business at like mostly at like networking events and, that kind of a thing. And maybe some LinkedIn, right? To hardcore digital marketing. So that is a big difference and takes a huge, huge approach. So let me get to the damn tips already. The first thing is when you need to stay motivated because nothing's working. And I've been there, whether it's growing your Instagram following, which, can be painfully slow, especially when you're obsessively checking it 14 times a day. Just like when your phone or your computer is doing an update, and if you stare at it, I swear to God, there has to be like a scientific study, and you stare at it, and you stare at that like wheel churning, it's going to take like 25 times longer than if you just sit your damn phone down and let the apps upgrade and all of that and go do something else, eat a sandwich. than sit there and stare at it and think that something's going to happen. I know that's what a lot of people do with Instagram. Like, if I just check this more times a day, something miraculous is going to happen in that time frame. We're just insane as humans, and it's a natural tendency for us to think if we like hyper focus on something, that we can somehow make that result that we desire so badly happen faster. Like, wanting the guy or girl to text you. And if you just like keep your phone on at all times and keep checking it, like that something's going to happen. No, it makes you freaking insane. And you can waste your entire day, if not weeks, on being completely insane and distracted versus letting it go and knowing you've done the best you could and getting on to something else and then letting things happen as they're going to unfold anyway. But we've all been there. I've been there a million times. And in fact, I was even there this morning. I've been away on a beautiful trip to Hong Kong, Singapore, and the Maldives. Didn't spend much time on social media. It was a recharge trip. And I come back and I noticed, obviously my business is heavily on social media, right? You guys probably follow me on Instagram at ProjectME with Tiffany or Facebook, ProjectME with Tiffany. Anyway, and so I'm back on it, and I didn't catch myself. I was going to say I caught myself. I didn't. I started scrolling, and I got caught in the scroll hole, as I call it. I went down a hole, and I was like, what the hell? What's going on? How are these people growing so fast? I thought I was doing pretty damn good, and then these people I went down the scroll hole. And I'm pretty damn good about not doing that. But at least I recognized it. And I was like, step away, put the phone down and walk away. Like, that's the voice in my head. So that is my tip number one, by the way, is to step away. So when your business or whatever, different things in your business, whether it is your sales, your Instagram following, your book, your website, whatever it is, if it is not growing how you want it to, or fast enough or whatever, and you need to step away, and you're like racking your brain and you're doing the obsessive checking, and it's time to step away. So hear that voice in your head, step away, put everything down, step away. And I don't mean for like a minute or even just to go to the gym. When something as serious, right? Your business is your baby. Something as serious as your business that you've put so much time, effort, and energy into isn't growing the way you want. It seems really slow. You keep trying stuff and nothing's sticking. You're not getting sales. Stepping away for even a day probably isn't enough. I need you to truly step away, and you have to step away in your mind too. You can't just step away physically and say, oh, I'm going to go and have like dinner with my friends, or I'll go to the spa, or, I'll go hang out with the guys and have beers or whatever it is. But then your mind is still all on this obsessive thing about your business. That's not going to work. You truly need to step away. What works for me is doing something like that is so immersive, I have no choice. So travel for me that's part of why I'm so passionate about it. And it can't just be like travel like an hour away. For me, it has to be like international travel, usually, because I've done so much domestic that's not distracting enough for me anymore. But it needs to be where I'm in a completely different environment, and there's so many different interesting things to like see, hear, smell, taste, that I can absolutely get lost. Now, I can also get lost staring at the ocean. So that's another option. For those of you who live near the ocean or a lake or something, everyone is different. My mind, my Virgo mind, is strong. So for me, I usually have to take pretty extreme measures to do these stepaways and pauses. So I just got back from that trip. It's exactly what I needed. I'm thrilled that I did that for myself. Now, I didn't go because I felt my business wasn't growing how it wanted to, but my system needed it. I could just tell I needed to recharge. So that might be the signal you're getting, right? You might not be feeling like super frustrated with your business, but maybe you're feeling really fatigued, burned out, over it, stressed. That's another sign you need to step away. You could also do it for like a weekend and just say like no social media for the weekend. No social, nothing for my business. It is a business-free weekend in my mind, body, and spirit, and commit to it. And you really have to commit to it. If you have an office, that means closing your office door. It's tough for so many of us entrepreneurs who we are, most of us, if you're doing it right, are location independent. So you have a home office, as long as your laptop's there or your phone's there, you have a business. So it can be so easy to pick up, but, I'll shut, I have a podcast studio and I have an office. So you shut both of those doors if that's what's necessary as a symbol to shut it off. And you have to commit to that. You have to trust me on this. All right. The second thing is, and it kind of goes with the first tip, is you need to put it out there to the universe, whatever you believe in. Okay. God, universe, higher power, Buddha, I don't care. Okay. You could believe in angels, whatever it is, something greater than yourself. Put it out there and ask. Say, I'm open and willing. You can say your version of this, but I want to give you a suggestion so you don't have to like try to come up with your own. I am open, universe, call out to who you're talking to. Universe, I am open and willing to receive your very clear guidance on what I need to do with my blank. Okay, whatever your issue is. It could be in your personal life too, but we're talking about business today. So, whatever it is for your business. All right. So, universe, I am open and willing to hear and accept your guidance on what you want me to do. What are the best next steps for my business or whatever your issue is? So you're putting it out there into the universe and you are asking for help. You're putting that energy out there that you're asking for help. And that puts you in an energy of receiving. Okay. It's putting you in the energy of receiving, which is so important. It's not just putting you in the energy of receiving to the universe, to God. It's putting you in the energy of receiving in person, in human flesh life too. So you're stating to yourself, to your higher power, that you are open and willing to receive guidance of any kind. You want it to be very clear. I'll ask for signs, but I always ask for them to be very clear. Because if it's too subtle to me, I'll second guess it. So I always ask for it to be clear and kind. I had to add the kind part because when I've asked for signs in the past, and then signs can come in all forms. And I'm like, I remember I was in the parking lot down the street here, and this was when I was very sick with adrenal fatigue, and I won't go into the whole thing. I shouldn't have even been driving. And I had asked for a sign that morning for something, like what I'm supposed to do. I was so desperate to get better. And then I backed into like a giant dumpster and scratched my car. It was like, okay, now I need to add for the sign to be not only clear, but kind. So just suggesting that one. So it puts you in that energy of being open and willing to receive. You're not just stuck in your own head where you have to figure it out, right? There's billions of humans on the planet, and there's trillions, if not more than trillions. I don't know what the next thing is after trillions. There's trillions of data and imagery and everything that's on this universe, right? On this planet here to serve you and guide you. So you have to put it out there. All right. Then the third tip is ask. Ask another human. Ask somebody after you do the first two things, okay? Because there's nothing more annoying, really, aside when someone asks to pick my brain. There's nothing more annoying when whether it's a friend, or whether it is just anybody asking for what am I doing wrong in my business or what's going on here when they haven't even taken the time to think about it themselves. It's very insulting to me. It's like they want me to figure out a problem for them that they're not even willing to give themselves the space to reflect upon it themselves. It's like, no, I'm not going to help you. I'm not helping you until you take that time. So do those first two things. And then I want you to ask somebody, okay? You might not even need to ask anyone at this point. You very likely will come up with your own answers. Most often we have our own answers. We just don't trust them, or we don't get still enough to where we can hear them because we're cramming in so many things, or we're afraid of being still and quiet and stepping away. So we can't hear or see the very sign and direction that's already so divinely and beautifully laid out for us. Okay. And I've been guilty of this most of my life, but not anymore. And really, it's all there. I do still ask for help from other people who I admire, respect, and trust, but it's more usually for validation, and it's also for, sometimes it's for something like technical, how to do this, like something that can't, be Googled, or I Googled it and I still don't get it. Or I'm looking for a hack or a referral. And sometimes it's just for validation. Like, this is what I came up with after I've reflected and processed, and I just wanted to run it by you and, get your thoughts. That's when I usually go to someone else. But make sure it's someone who is successful, at least somewhat in the genre of what you're doing. Don't ask a restaurant, someone who owns a restaurant that doesn't even have a website, about your life coaching business. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not going to work. So make sure it's someone in your genre. You'd be amazed at how many generous people there are out there that will help you and give you some guidance. I'm not saying hours and hours, but give you some guidance for free. If you've ever DM'd me, you know that I do that. Now, do I go elaborate? No, that wouldn't be fair to myself or to my paying clients, right? But for sure, I do give direction. Happy to give some direction for free. And of course, if you want more direction and access to me, you could be a part of my membership group, the ProjectME Passive Income Posse, or you could get on the wait list for private coaching with me. All right. So I want you guys to do those three things and keep in mind, and this might just help ease all of you right now, all this stuff in business takes longer than you ever want it to. I am quoted as saying, which is so funny. I say stuff that I don't know I say, and then I get quoted for it. So I'll probably even re-quote it incorrectly, but if you want to test your patience every single day for the rest of your life, become an entrepreneur. I mean, it's seriously that much. So here's the thing. When we get so hyper focused on something, whether it's a person, a place, a thing, a situation, time seems to stand still. But when we're not focusing on it, then things seem to just happen. And as I'm saying this, I'm looking out. I have a beautiful backyard. One of the reasons we got this house, I mean, just gorgeous landscaping, and it's spring. So all these different flowers are coming up. And do I take enough time? No, I don't. Do I take enough time to closely admire daily all these flowers and things like that outside? No. And since I was away for 2 weeks and I come back and I'm not paying attention to, right? I wasn't here. I'm not paying attention to my backyard. I come back and all these different flowers and plants are in bloom. It just happened. But if I was here this whole past 2 weeks, would I have maybe been so awestruck by the magic? No. And guess what? Would it have happened anyway? Yes. Whether I sat there and stared at these damn plants and meditated on them every single day and checked them 14 times a day like you guys do your Instagram. Would these plants bloom any faster or any differently? No, they would have bloomed as they were going to anyway. So, I love analogies. So I hope that you see my point here. So just know things do take longer. We often don't give strategies, our techniques, our marketing, all of that. We often don't give it enough time because we're in such an instant gratification society. I call it the like society, meaning the like button society, right? It's like we want to talk about, our offer or our coaching or our mastermind or our widget or our whatever. We want to talk about it like, a few times for a week or two, maybe 3, and have a whole bunch of sales. Well, good for fucking you. Last time I checked, that doesn't work in any business, even our greatest inventions. Even things that are some of our coolest inventions in the last 10 years, the last 5 years, even things like drones or the electric car, right? Even stuff like that. It wasn't just talked about 3, 4, or 5 times a week for 3 weeks, maybe a month, maybe 6 weeks, and there was a whole bunch of sales. Are you kidding me? It was ad nauseum, over and over and over and over again for years, with many multiple people talking it and lots of dollars spent. But for some reason, so many entrepreneurs, especially online entrepreneurs, but also entrepreneurs with brick and mortar businesses, it's like, I open the business and I talk about it and I've advertised in a few places and I'm not as busy as I want to be. Yeah, well, you're not Kim K, right? If you're not Kim K and she's not hooking you up, or you're not paying for like heavy influencer traffic or something like that, yeah, you're going to have to work for it. And it takes time and patience, and it takes much longer than you think. And there is no shortcut. Are there better routes, more efficient routes, more effective routes? Yes, it's why you hire people like me or other people who are experts, in that particular thing, right? So yes, there's ways to speed it up for sure, but there are no shortcuts. There's not. Being an entrepreneur is a long-term play. So I just want you to remember that today. You're going to have to take a heaping dose of patience every freaking day, and it just takes longer. And those people out there who make it sound like it doesn't take as long, like in 30 days, I made $50,000 and I'm going to teach you how to. I'm not saying they didn't make 50 grand in 30 days. They probably made the 50 grand after launching. Right? So what happened prior to the 30 days? I imagine there was a whole hell of a lot of time and effort that went into building a website, a content, community, etc. that went into it prior to those 30 days. Do you see what I mean? They're not counting that. They're counting it from the launch point. And I'm not putting them down because it's just, it's marketing, and they're not technically lying because once they launched it in 30 days, they did make that. But you guys have to remember, let's back it up. Okay. Let's back it up. So when I tell you how long ProjectME with Tiffany Carter has been around, and I say it's about nine months now, that was from me starting it, meaning me hiring and meeting with a web designer. That's when I tell you it started, not when I pressed, not when it got published. I'm telling you because A business starts when you start working on it. I mean, when you start putting money out there and you really start going for it. If I could make my success of being at 6 figures with Project Me with Tiffany Carter sound a lot more sexy if I told you how long this company has been like really fully effectively like running, where I had something to sell, where I was selling something. That would sound really sexy. I mean, that would be like maybe September of 2018, maybe even October of 2018. So that sounds a lot sexier, but that's not the number I choose to tell you guys because, you know, I like to keep it real. And in my mind, I want to give myself credit, like, and keep it real for myself. I know when this started. So things always take longer than we want them to, including my hair, including my nails. You know what I'm saying? Including my dog going to the bathroom when I want to go back on the couch. It all just takes longer. So don't give up, stick with it, and make sure that you guys take a screenshot right now of this episode and post it on Instagram or Facebook and tag me at Project Me with Tiffany. This way I know that you guys really like the episode, and plus it helps other people find this podcast so we can keep it going. Obviously it's offered free to you, but it's not free for me to put it out there. It actually costs quite a bit of money, as I have a producer and a coordinator and all the equipment and the application platforms we have to have this running. So be sure you guys take a screenshot, tag me, put it in your Instagram stories, say what you like about it, say I'm crazy, whatever it is. And this way I can make more content like it, and you can help other people find it that you feel would appreciate it, and it'll help the show grow and help me continue to give you guys more amazing free content. So as always, wishing you great health, wealth, and worth. Bye, guys. If you enjoyed this podcast, please write a 5-star review on iTunes. Not only will this make me super happy, but it will allow more listeners to find our special show. Simply help me help others.